Well, while the FBI is busy surveilling churches, monitoring school board meetings, as we were just talking about with Congressman Johnson, and raiding the homes of pro-life Americans, they may have missed Chinese intelligence agents operating on U.S. soil. Reports of Chinese intelligence agencies running service centers in 7 American cities have Republican senators demanding answers. In a recent letter to the Department of Justice and FBI Director Christopher Wray, the senators say the Chinese Communist Party's intent is to intimidate and surveil Chinese Americans with dissenting opinions. Joining me now to discuss this and more is Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn, who is leading this effort. She serves on 4 Senate committees, including the Senate Judiciary Committee. Senator Blackburn, welcome back to Washington Watch. Great to see you.
Always good to see you and be with you. Thank you.
Yesterday, the House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party held a roundtable discussion on the extensive and egregious efforts of the CCP to violate religious freedom. And one of the many issues raised by those who have legally immigrated to this country is the surveillance of the CCP here on U.S. soil.
That's right. It continues. And Tony, as we have talked in times past, we've been very concerned about these Confucius classrooms, Confucius institutes, the sister city programs, the aggressiveness of the Chinese Communist Party against people like me who were standing up for America and pushing back on the CCP and their human rights violations and their economic warfare, their great power competition, their Belt and Road Initiative, their debt diplomacy. And then we find out that these service centers, which are, as you said, housed in 7 different cities, that they are also serving as police stations or surveillance stations. And what we're trying to do is find out what the FBI knew, when they knew it, why didn't they come forward with this? What are they doing to make certain these are closed? And how is this administration going to deal with the CCP and say, you cannot put your police stations on U.S. soil?
I mean, this is outrageous. I mean, you talk about a breach of national sovereignty.
It is outrageous, yes.
You've got the Communist Party setting up surveillance centers on our soil. I mean, Senator, is this a reflection of the Biden administration? Is it their weakness? Is it they're not taking the threats to our national security
Correct.
from CCP seriously? What is this? What's driving this?
It is. Well, you're spot on with that, Tony, because this administration, Joe Biden and his administration, are viewed as being very weak. Biden is viewed as being compromised. The CCP, Xi Jinping, they know this. They know they've kind of got him. And their intent, as we all know, is to be globally dominant by 2050. They want the 21st century to be the China century. They're working with their allies in what I call the new axis of evil, Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, to do everything they can to make life difficult for us and to show how weak and frail we are. Look at how Yellen acted when she was over there in China for her meetings, bowing, kowtowing. You've got John Kerry going to China to work on climate change. What we ought to see is the president and John Kerry and Yellen saying, look, shipping all that fentanyl through the cartels to the U.S. better come to a halt, or this is what we're going to do. And we are going to stop this trade imbalance. Last year, China had a record year with the United States. They shipped in nearly $1 trillion worth of goods more to us than we exported to them.
Right.
And this administration ought to say to the CCP, we are going to shut down these centers. We're going to arrest people who are spying on U.S. citizens and on Chinese citizens that are in the U.S., and you're going to cut this out. They should be pushing hard against this. And This would never have happened under President Donald Trump and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo,
Right.
because they knew better than to try to cross them in this manner.
Yeah, and I have to say this again, that these surveillance centers and this these repressive policies of the CCP in part are being funded by American consumers who are buying these Chinese products. And so we need to be mindful of that when we shop.
That's right. A $1 trillion trade imbalance. Yes, that's right. $1 trillion trade imbalance.
I want to very
and
quickly.
then they're taking those profits.
I want to quickly go to another topic. We've just got about a minute left, but you've been big on the issue of securing our borders. And every state has become a border state. I mean, Tennessee, an illegal immigrant claiming to be a soccer coach was arrested after videos were found on his phone showing that he had drugged and raped young boys. Where's our security for our communities?
And this is what happens when you do not enforce the rule of law and people enter the country illegally. And it's why I have worked so hard to make certain that we secure that border and that we protect women and children at that border. 90% of the women and children who make that journey to enter this country illegally are raped. They are physically, mentally, and sexually abused, Tony. It is a humanitarian crisis. And this is why I worked with Senator Durbin, and we were able to get signed into law a lifting of the statute of limitations on these child sexual assaults.
Good.
So children and their parents can have their day in court. And Senator Ossoff and I, also working in a bipartisan manner, are working to increase the amount of time that social media companies have to hold all of this information and NCMEC. Give them the ability to capture some of this so that our prosecutors have time to investigate. Investigators investigate and prosecutors prosecute, and we can get these people locked up.